Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Life Science with Nivedita. So this is the question paper solving series of KC 2020 Life Science. So we already done 4 parts successfully. So this is the 5th part of this video series. So yeah, let's get started. So it's the first question of this video. So which of the following is not a plant growth hormone? Okay, option A jasmonic acid, option D gibberellin, option C auxin, and option D ethylene. Okay, so let us see which is the answer. So see, this is the master slide which is having all plant hormones. Okay, so in plants hormone like classified. Okay, there are some hormones are plant promoters which will promote the growth. Some are growth inhibitors that will stopping the growth inhibit, right? And also some are growth inhibitors and also promoters. Okay, so see what are the growth promoters? Auxin, gibberellin, and cytokinins are the growth promoters, and abscisic acid is a growth inhibitor, and this one ethylene is there, no? So that is act as a both growth inhibitor and also growth promoters. Okay, so these all are the plant growth hormones. Okay, so according to this, so see, this is the uses and the hormones. So abscisic acid is helpful for closing of stomata and also in seed dormancy, and this auxins is there, no? So that is useful for cell elongation and differentiation of shoots and roots. Okay, so come to the cytokinin, it will promote the cell division, that is promotion of sprouting of lateral buds and also opening of stomata, aging of leaves. Okay, so these are regulated by this cytokinin hormone. Okay, so now come to the ethylene. This is helps to ripening of a fruit. If fruit is ripening, means that is responsible for which hormone? Ethylene hormone. So in the market and all, early ripening, right? So they have simply taken the fruit and they will add the ethylene hormone for the ripening. Okay, so gibberellin, this is help for germination of seeds and sprouting of the buds, elongation of the stems, stimulation of the flowering, development of the fruit. Okay, so all these things gibberellin hormones will be used. Okay, so according to this, which is the answer? We never got jasmonic acid in the plant growth hormones, right? So that's why jasmonic acid is the answer. So now it is the answer, means it is not a plant growth hormone, right? So now what it is? See here, this is a plant signaling molecule. Okay, it acts like a signaling molecule. So levels of jasmonic acid rise in response to damage. Okay, if jasmonic acid level is increased in the plant, that will indicate there is any damage will take place in the plant. Okay, so this hormone is there. Now this is also plant hormone, but it is not helpful for growth and development. Instead of helpful for growth and development, it will act as a signaling molecule, that is for the some signaling. For example, if any pathogens will come, it will signal some secondary metabolites to fight against that pathogens, right? So like that, this is happen, this function. Okay, so this hormone can trigger many types of plant defenses, including terpenes and alkaloids, right? So terpenes and alkaloids are plant secondary metabolites. Okay, so what is the function of plant secondary metabolites? It will defend the plants from other adverse conditions, from the pathogens, from the superoxide. Okay, so from all these conditions, it will defend our plant. So that's why this jasmonic acid is there, no? So this will trigger the secondary metabolites to protect the plants from damage. Okay, so the action of jasmonic acid induces the transcription of many genes involved in the plant defense. Okay, means in a plant defense mechanism, there are many genes are involved for the protection. Okay, for the defense mechanism. So this jasmonic acid will induces, okay, it will transcript on that to increase the defense mechanism. Okay, so this is about first question. So now on to the second question. The fixation of carbon dioxide in C4 cycle takes place by what? Okay, so option A alpha ketoglutarate, option B oxaloacetate, option B phosphoenol pyruvate, option D dihydroxyacetone phosphate. Okay, so let us see. So see, this is the C4 pathway. Okay, so why C4 pathway is happening means it is happening in the plants. Okay, so during the photosynthesis, this cycle will be happening. Okay, so to produce sugar, glucose, no, plants also needs food for its own, prepared food it's for its own, right? So for that, C4 pathway is happening. So how it is happening? Let us see. This is mesophyll cell, this is bundle sheath cell. Okay, so in the mesophyll cell, what happened? Carbon dioxide will be fixed. Okay, see, fixation of carbon dioxide will be happening here. You can see over here carbon dioxide, right? So this fixation of the carbon dioxide will take place in the mesophyll cell. Okay, so what are the two molecules will be fixed the carbon dioxide? Phosphoenol pyruvate and also oxaloacetate. Okay, you can see over here in these two middle, right, carbon dioxide will be present. So that's why this carbon dioxide will get fixed in the presence of oxaloacetate and also phosphoenol pyruvate. So now what happened, this oxaloacetate is converted into malate. So then this is enter as a pyruvate in the bundle sheet cell. So now this pyruvate also converted into carbon dioxide and enter into the Kelvin cycle to produce sugar. Okay, after producing sugar, it will enter into the vascular tissue for the metabolism. Okay, so this is the overall pathway of C4 pathway. So in the question they have asking where carbon dioxide fixation takes place, means what are the molecules will be involved in the carbon dioxide fixation. So answer for that question is oxaloacetate and also phosphoenol pyruvate. Okay, so what is the answer? Option B and C, that is oxaloacetate and also phosphoenol pyruvate. Okay. Let us move on to the next question. Which of the following bacteria is a non-heterocystous and non-symbiotic nitrogen fixing bacteria? Okay, so non-symbiotic means there is no mutual understanding. Okay, so first of all, symbiosis means what? There is a mutual understanding between two organisms, whether it is a plant, whether it is an animal, whether it is a microorganisms. Okay, so there is a mutual understanding is there. That is known as symbiosis. Okay. So in the question they are asking which is a non-symbiotic nitrogen fixing bacteria. Okay, option A Anabaena, option B Rhizobium, option C E. coli, and option D Azotobacter. Okay, so see, this is non-symbiotic nitrogen fixation by free living organisms. So what are the examples? So cyanobacteria, Azotobacter, Clostridium. Okay, so these three are what non-symbiotic nitrogen fixing bacteria. In the question they have asking which one. So see, which is non-symbiotic. So we got Azotobacter here, right? So here also we got Azotobacter. So what is the answer? Azotobacter is the answer. Okay, so according to this, which is the answer? Option D, Azotobacter is a non-symbiotic and also non-heterocyst. Heterocyst is nothing but in the structure, heterocyst is present. Okay, so that is also not present in the Azotobacter. Okay, so now move on to the symbiotic nitrogen fixation. Okay, so symbiosis means what? As I already mentioned, it is a mutual relationship. For example, I want something from you and I get talking with you, I will give this thing and you can give back something for me which I needed. Okay, which you needed I will give. So whatever I needed you have to give. So now what happened is mutual, right? So there is no harmful, both are benefited, right? So this is what happening in the case of plants and also bacteria. Okay, usually bacteria needs shelter for their survival. So plants need some plants does not able to fix nitrogen directly, it needs some help from the bacteria. Okay, so plants also need nitrogen for the metabolism, so it will talking with the bacteria, okay, I will give the shelter for you, you help me to fix the nitrogen. Okay, so this is the symbiosis. So come to the bacteria, this Rhizobium, Bradyrhizobium, Azorhizobium is get symbiotic, is get mutual association with legumes and Parasponia plant group. Okay, so come to the actinomycetes, Frankia, Nostac will get symbiotic association with Brutulaceae and Bryophytes family. Okay, so now come to cyanobacteria, that is blue green algae. Okay, Anabaena, Nostac are present here, so that will get associated with the angiosperm and some cycas related plants. Okay, this is how plant and microorganisms will be both get benefited each other. Okay, so now move on to the next question. During electron transport, the extra energy carried by the electron is utilized in the formation of what? Okay, option A ATP, option B ADP, option C NADP, option D NADPH2. Okay, so let us see. See, this is the overall process of electron transport chain. Okay, so when it is happen in our body, metabolism is takes place, right? So we have intake some carbohydrate food, so that has to be metabolized inside our body, right? So in that case, what happen? First of all, glycolysis will be takes place. So after that, Krebs cycle will be takes place. So the ATP, the NADH, FADH, what are the produced in both these two cycle, that will get ended up with the ETC. Okay, see here, this NADH, FADH will taken up from the previous cycle, that is glycolysis and the Krebs cycle. Okay, so this ETC is containing five complex. Okay, it's complex 1. See, this is complex 2, complex 3, complex 4, and the last one is ATP synthase complex. Okay, so here what happened? Proton pumping takes place from the mitochondrial matrix to the intermembrane space. Proton will be continuously pumping. Okay, so see here, here also pumping, but in second complex proton is not pumping, it is associated with the third complex. Okay, from the third complex it will move on to the fourth complex by releasing water molecules. Okay, so here what happened, protons will be pumped from matrix to enter intermembrane space. So in the fourth complex also, so at last what happened, in the ATP synthase all the protons will be utilized and produce ATP. You can see over here chemiosmosis will be takes place. Here proton will be received. So when it is received, ATP is converted into ADP. Okay, so sorry, ADP with the help of phosphate, it is converted into ATP. This is the energy molecule, right? So this is how the energy will be released. So what they have asking, during electron transport, extra energy carried by the electron is utilized in the formation of what? So what happened? Here these are extra energy, right? So those are come and utilize the formation of ATP. Okay, what is the answer? ATP is the answer. Okay, so now let us move on. Which of the following is a not secondary metabolite? So highlighted because they are asking not. In examination hall, what we did know, we just by the enthusiasm. For example, I read everything about secondary metabolite. Okay, so I got this question. I will see which is the following secondary metabolite. So I just skip the not. Okay, so I just alkaloid I know, fluoride I know. So just ticking first one alkaloid, get correct and move on. So don't do like that, because sometimes they will ask not. Okay, here they will ask not, right? We have to write which is not a secondary metabolite. So option A alkaloid, option B phenol, option C flavonoid, and option D alpha ketogluteric acid. Okay, so let us see. This is the master slide of secondary metabolites. Okay, so as I already mentioned, secondary metabolites means what? It is helps for the defense mechanism. It is not helpful for growth. It is not helpful for development. Instead of that, it will be helpful for defense the plant. Okay, because if any pathogen attacking takes place, if any super radicals attacking, so in that case, this plant secondary metabolites will help our body. Help the plants to function. Okay, so see here, these all are the plant secondary metabolites. This is terpenes family, phenolics family, nitrogen containing family, and also sulfur containing compounds. Okay, so see in the question what they are asking, alkaloids, phenols, flavonoids, alpha ketogluteric acid, right? So see, we got alkaloids here, we got flavonoids here, and also they are asking phenols, right? So see the phenols. But here we never got alpha ketogluteric anywhere. No, because alpha ketogluteric acid is not a secondary metabolite. Okay, so answer for this question is alpha ketoglutarate, because this is not a secondary metabolite. Okay, this is involved in the Krebs cycle. Okay, when you see the Krebs cycle, citric acid cycle, you get to know this compound there. Okay, so now move to the next question. Number of ATP molecules required to fix one molecule of nitrogen is how many? Okay, option A 12, option B 16, option C 20, option D 24. Okay, so to fix the nitrogen, because nitrogen is present in the environment, right? So in our environment, 78% of nitrogen gas is present. Okay, but here what is the problem means, plants directly not getting nitrogen directly. It needs some help, some microorganisms help. So with the bacteria, it will fix the nitrogen, and even we also not directly taken the nitrogen which is present in the atmosphere, because our body does not have such enzyme mechanism which to fix the nitrogen directly. Okay, so we got nitrogen from plants, because plant fixing nitrogen, right? So we got through the diet, we got some nitrogen here. So see, this is the nitrogen fixation. So which is the key enzyme, that is nitrogenous complex. Okay, so see, this is the overall reaction. So how many ATP is required? So see, this is nitrogen which is present in the environment. So with the help of 16 ATP molecules and also 8 proton, 8 electrons also involved. So here what happened? With the help of 16 ATP, this nitrogen is converted into ammonium. Okay, in the plants, the nitrogen is converted as a ammonium. Okay, so how many ATP is required? 16 ATP. Okay, so let us see what is the answer. 16 ATP is the answer, means to fix the one nitrogen, 16 ATP is needed. Okay, so let us move. Hair cells are components of sensory organ. Option A vision, option B taste, option C smell, and option D hearing. Okay, so where it is present, let us see. This is the ear. Okay, this is outer ear, this is middle ear, this is inner ear, and here you can see this is eardrum. Okay, this is ear canal space. Okay, so and also here you can see this is cochlea. Okay, so when we zoom this cochlea, we get to know the hair cells. Okay, hair cells you see, right? So this is the hair cells which is present in the ear. Okay, so according to this, which is the answer? And here is no, this is auditory nerve. This is connected to the brain. Okay, for the hearing, brain is also important, right, to get the signals. So this auditory nerve is connected to the brain through here. Okay, so which is the answer? Hair cells are present where? In the hearing, that is in the ear. Okay, so now move to the next question. Match the following. Okay, I love match the following because it is very easy, right? So match the hormones to the glands producing them. Okay, they have given in the group A some hormones. You have to match it with the in which gland it is produced. Okay, so oxytocin, insulin, calcitonin, estrogen, and in the group B they have given ovary, pituitary, pineal, pancreas, and also thyroid. Okay, so see, this is the master slide here. All the glands, all the hormones are I mentioned. Okay, so see, this is the pituitary gland. In the pituitary gland, what are the hormones will be produced? Sorry, pineal gland. Okay, in the pineal gland, melatonin is produced. In the pituitary gland, FSH, LH, and ADH, growth hormone, oxytocin, prolactin. In the thyroid gland, calcitonin, thyroxine present. In the adrenal glands, cortisol, adrenaline is present. In the pancreas, insulin and glucagon. This is very important hormone to maintain the blood glucose level. Okay, so in the ovaries, estrogen and also progesterone. Progesterone in the case of pregnancy. Okay, and estrogen in the case of female. Okay, that is in the woman. So come to the testes, that is in the male, testosterone hormone is responsible. Okay, so I have mentioned the target organ and also function here. Just go through this slide. Okay, so in the question, what they have asking, see once again in the question they are asking which whatever glands and whatever hormones they are asking, let us see. So oxytocin, insulin, calcitonin, estrogen. Okay, let us see what are they asking. Oxytocin, where we got oxytocin? Here. Okay, oxytocin has hormone will be produced in the pituitary gland. Okay, and also they are asking calcitonin, right? So calcitonin is produced in the thyroid gland. Okay, so and also they are asking about estrogen, right? So estrogen is produced in the ovaries, right? And also asking about which one? Insulin, right? Yeah, insulin. Okay, insulin is produced in the pancreas. Okay, so according to this, which is the answer? Option C. Okay, so let us see option C here. 1, 2, 2, 4, 3, 5, 4, 1. Okay, 1 means that is 2 pituitary gland, oxytocin pituitary gland, and insulin, pancreas, and calcitonin, thyroid, and estrogen. 4, 1, that is ovary. Okay, so this is the hormones and also glands producing them. So let us move on. Next question. Myogenic heart contraction is initiated by what? Okay, option A myocytes, option B endothelial cells, option C Purkinje fibers, and option D transitional cells. Okay, let us see what is myocytes. Myocytes is nothing but the muscles which is present in the heart. Okay, so our even though our organs are covered with the muscles, right? So protection. So our heart also covered with a special muscle that is known as myocytes. Okay, let us see. Sorry. So let us see here, this is heart, right? So this is myocardium. So when we got zoom this myocardium, we got myocyte like this. Okay, that is muscle of the heart. Okay, so when we got again zoom this, we get to know the sarcomere, that is muscle arrangement takes place, right? Actin and myosin, that we get to know. So see, this is the myosin thick filament, actin thick filament, force produced myosin head, and here actin myosin cross bridge. Here on, that is actin myosin on here, and here actin myosin will be relaxed. Okay, so this is the about myocardium. So see, as I already said, our heart is made up of special muscle cell, that is myocardium. So it is called as cardiac muscle cells. Okay, so the myocardium is composed of cardiac myocytes. Okay, the contract similar to the skeletal muscle cell. Okay, so in our skeletal system also contraction relaxation takes place, right? For example, I am doing like this. Okay, so how come I am without any difficulty, I do like this. So how can I do? Because skeletal muscle having the contraction and relaxation capacity, right? So in the same way, heart also doing contraction relaxation, right? It has to pump the blood throughout the body. So for pumping, it has to contract, it has to relax. For that, the muscle which is present in the heart has to be the contraction, right? It is some special muscle has to there. That's why it's composed of myocytes. Okay, so see here, this is the cardiac muscle cell. This is intercalated. This is nucleus, which is this is called as a cardiac muscle cells. Okay, so see, this is the cardiac myocyte physiology, means how the muscle will how the cardiac muscle will get contracted, because for the contraction there are many steps are involved in our body. For performing any function, it has some steps, it has some specific pathway. Okay, so here for the myocyte physiology, means for the contraction of the heart muscle, there's some steps are involved. So let us see what are those. So steps in excitation, contraction, coupling in the myocytes. So first one, action potential is generated. Okay, you can see over here, your action potential generated. So now what happened when it is generated, calcium will be enters. Okay, so see, means inside this sarcoplasmic reticulum and all, calcium is present. Okay, so when action potential is generated, calcium is enter. So see here, calcium here, no, so that will enter here. So when the calcium will enter to the plateau phase, calcium induced calcium via sarcoplasmic reticulum. Okay, you can see over here, this is sarcoplasmic reticulum. So here what happened, calcium is present and release. Okay, the stored calcium is there now here, so that will release through the sarcoplasmic reticulum. Okay, so now what happened, and this calcium is there now, this calcium is binds with the troponin C. Okay, this calcium is there now, so that is bind with the troponin C. So when it is bind with the troponin C, so it is activated the actin and myosin. Okay, so when calcium is bind with the troponin C, actin and myosin will get interact. Okay, so when actin and myosin will get interact, contraction takes place in the muscle of the heart. Okay, so this is the overall process of cardiac myocytes. So what is the answer according to this? Myocytes, right? Because it is the only muscle which is helps for contraction in the heart. So see, this is the pacemaker of the heart. Initially it was started with the sinoatrial node, that is SA node. So later on it is coming to the AV node, and also later on bundle his. At last it will bundle branches. At last it will enter the Purkinje fibers. Okay, this is the anterior view of the frontal section of the heart. The pacemaker takes the signaling. Okay, that is nothing but signaling which is takes place in the heart. So now on to the next question. Blood pressure is the pressure of the blood on the walls of what? Okay, option A arteries, option B veins, option C myocardium, option D ventricle. Okay, so see, first of all, what is blood pressure? Okay, if people heard about blood pressure, right? So what does it mean? It is a pressure which is exerted against the arterial wall. Okay, which wall? Arterial wall. Pressure will be exerted. Okay, for doing anything, for blood has to be moved throughout our body, right, through the capillaries which is present in our body. So it is has to be moved every organ, because every organ needs oxygen, right? So that's why this blood will carry the oxygen through the circulatory system. So for that, pressure is needed, right? So heart will pumping, right? So when it is pumping, pressure is exerted. So for example, I have one glass of water. Okay, so just pour like this. Is any energy needed? So just pour simply. But when I need extra energy and pour like this, it will go somewhere, some more distance. So why it is go some more distance rather than first doing like this? Because I will exert a force. Okay, so in the heart also the same thing happens. Okay, so when heart pumping takes place, it will produce some sort of force. So with the help of that pressure, the blood will be moved throughout the body. Okay, so that is against what the pressure will be exerted? Against the arterial walls. Okay, so see, in the question they are asking against the which wall blood pressure is pumping, that is artery. Okay, so this is a range of BP, that is blood pressure range. This is normal, this is risk, and also this is high range of BP. Okay, so just go through this slide. So according to this, which is the answer? arteries, right? Because pressure is exerted against the arteries. So move on to the next question. So, and one more thing, students will always get confused with arteries and the veins. Okay, so don't get confused. It's very easy. So here artery is there, no? So artery is nothing but it will transport the oxygen-rich blood from heart to the organs. Okay, from the heart it will take the oxygen. Okay, so that oxygenated blood will be carried to the other organs. Okay, away. Well, from heart to away. Away organs, it will take on the oxygen rich blood, right? So that's why I just remember like a artery away. Okay, so that is it will transport the oxygen rich blood from the heart to other organs. So come to the vein. So what is the function of vein? It will take the oxygen poor blood and carbon dioxide from the organs to the heart. Okay, I mean the carbon dioxide, I mean the poor, that is deoxygenated blood is present, no? So it will taken that to the and send it to the lungs. Okay, so just remember like veins vacuum, that is it will take into the heart, right? Not taken from the heart. Taken from the heart, which is doing arteries taken from the heart, but here it will taken into the heart. Which one? Vein. Just remember like veins vacuum, that will take blood into the heart. Okay, so this is about veins and arteries. So from today onwards, don't get confused. Okay. So now move to the next question. Which one of the following nerve center is not involved? So highlighted. Not involved in the regulation of excreting urine from the urinary bladder. Okay, so in our body we excrete urine, right? So for that excretion, there is a special process called as micturition. Okay, the excretion of urine takes place. No, so by the signaling only, this is by nerve signaling, brain will get signal to the urinary bladder to excrete the urine. Okay, so that process is called as micturition. Okay, they are asking which is not involved in the regulation of urine excretion. Okay, option is spinal cord, option B brainstem, option is B C cerebral cortex, option D dura mater. Okay, let us see. So see, this is the neural control of micturition, how it is controlled throughout the body. So see, this is the cerebral cortex. Okay, and also here what happened, urinary, in the urinary bladder, urine is there. Okay, so what happened, urine is there, it has to be excreted. So now what happened, it will sense the brain. See, through the spinal cord it will sense it. So see the arrow marks. Okay, so here arrow marks like this, right? So here urinary bladder will sense through the spine nerve. Okay, so spinal cord will carry the message to the brain in the pons. So it will taken to the cerebral cortex. So in the cerebral cortex, what happens? It will receive the message. Okay, urinary bladder is full of urine. It has to be excreted. So now what happened is in the reversal, this cerebral cortex in the brain, no. So that will carry the message. So see, it will send the signal through the nerve and send the signal to the motor and urethra. So now urethra will receiving the message as go just excrete the urine, because in the urinary bladder urine is excess, your body has to be excrete the urine. So now through this nervous means nerve nerve impulses, the urethra get the message from the brain. So now what happened, urine excretion takes place. So overall this process is called as micturition. Okay, understood, right? So now what is the answer? Dura mater, because they are asking in the question which is not involved. Here spinal cord also involved, right? Brainstem also involved, and also cerebral cortex also involved. But we haven't seen this dura mater in the overall process. So now what is this then dura mater is? So see here, this is a present in as a protection. So our brain is a very master gland, right? It's very sensitive, because any perform function, the brain is the master. So that's why this brain has to be protected in a very special manner. So see, this is our scalp, this is our head. Okay, so this is the skin of the scalp, this is periosteum, this is the bone. Okay, skull bone is there, no, this one, that one. And also after the skull, periostele and meningeal is present. Okay, these two are called as dura mater. Okay, the layer periostele and meningeal is present after the bone skull, so that is called as dura mater. You can see over here, so they have removed the hair, remove the skin, and also remove the bone skull. So inside the bone skull like this is our brain will protect it. Okay, so the layer is present, no, this one. this and this. So this is what called as dura mater. Okay. So now let us move on to the next question. Which of the following organ regulates the ionic balance in the man? Okay. So in our body, ions has to balance in a special way, right? Because if it is less means feel fatigue. If it is also more means feel diarrhea. So that's why it has to be maintained in normal range. So which organs will regulate the ion balance? You all know kidney, right? Because it will filter the blood. Means how it is filter the blood, if any useful ions, if any useful molecules is present, sorry, this kidney is present in the blood, it will again refilter back to the circulatory system. If it is signals like a waste material, just excrete through the urine. Okay. So and also the function of kidneys, it will regulate the concentration of proton, sodium, potassium, and also phosphorus. So these are all ions, right? So these ions regulation will take place by the kidney itself, and also other ions which is included in the extracellular fluid, means in the outside the cell some fluids are there, no? So those fluids also regulated by this kidney and excrete end product of metabolism in the urine. Okay, after the metabolism of the urine, any end product is produced, so that will excrete with the help of kidney itself. Okay, so this is the function of kidney. So what is the answer? The simple kidney, right? So now move on to the next question. The pituitary gland stimulates the adrenal glands to make cortisol. So cortisol is increased during all of the following situations except highlighted, because they were asking exception. So option A morning stress, option B stress, sorry, morning hours, option B stress, option C illness, and option D night time. Okay, so let us see. This cortisol is there, no? This is called as stress hormone, because whenever you feel stress, our body suddenly producing cortisol hormone. Okay, it is not has to be produced elevated level. Okay, so that's why don't get panic, don't get stressed whenever you got sudden shocking news, sudden anything happen, got stress, oh my god, because it is leads to synthesis of this cortisol. Okay, so that's why be calm, don't get worry. Okay, so what are the adverse effects of this cortisol? Means when we means whenever in a time of depression we think more, that will leads to uh, more level of cortisol releasing. Okay, in the hypertension sometimes got very tension. Okay, so that also leads to synthesis, means elevated, that is increase excess cortisol in the body. In the chronic fatigue, sleep deprivation, okay, it's not regular sleeping, and also migraines, tunnel vision, acidic reflux disease, and also hostility, hunger, arthritis, decreased immune system, decreased metabolism. See, for the only by this cortisol hormone, how many effects are there? So according to this, which is the answer? Night time, because night time we are not as much stress when compared to the other thing. In the morning time, we just woke up simply. If any job is there, by stress only we are doing something. Just giving stress. We have taken the stress in that time itself. So what they have given the question? Morning hours, yes, stress. Actually, cortisol is called as stress hormone. This also answer. In the illness condition also we have taken the stress. If any illness means, oh, this is happening to me, and also our body also becoming weak, right? So that is also a reason to stimulate the cortisol hormone. And when come to the night time, in night time not much we depressed, and also not much tense. So that's why in the night time there is a less chance of producing this cortisol hormone. Okay, so now move to the next question. Which of the following is the functional unit of vertebrate excretory system? Okay, they are asking functional unit, not functional organ. If they are asking which is the following organ which is for excretory system, means you have to go with the kidney, because they are not asking organ here, they are asking functional unit. So our body functional unit to our cell, right? Our body is made up of cell. So in the same way, kidney is also made up of a special cells known as nephron. Okay, so let us see. See, this is the nephron. Okay, functional units of kidney is nephron. 1 million of nephrons per kidney. Okay, per kidney it is having although 1 million of nephrons, and filtration takes place. No, so that is happening in this nephron itself only. Okay, so what is the function of this nephron? It will filter out the urea and other solutes, salt, and also sugar. Okay, and come to the blood plasma filtered into the nephron. If any plasma filtration takes place, it is also filtered in the nephron. and also selective reabsorption. Okay, for example, some valuable solutes, some water, again back to the bloodstream. Okay, so that reabsorption also takes place in the nephron itself. Okay, so see, this is the structure of nephron, which is having glomerulus, proximal convoluted tubule, Bowman's capsule, efferent arteriole, and also this is loop of Henle. Okay, this is loop of Henle, and this is distal convoluted tubule, and this is afferent arteriole. This is collecting duct. Okay, this is overall nephron parts. So, which is the answer? Nephron, right? Nephron is the functional unit of kidney. So now move to the other option, that is other than correct option. They have given some options, right? So we discussed that thing also. So now come to the neuron. As I said, nephron is the functional unit of kidney. This neuron is the functional unit of nerve cell. Okay. So myelin sheath, you can see the structure of neuron. We get to know the myelin sheath in the surrounding here, and also cell body, which is having nucleus here, and also axon. This thing was the axon. Okay. And this axon is helpful for carry the message away from the cell body to other neurons. Okay, it will carry the messages from other neurons also. And axon terminal dendrites, these dendrites will carry the message to the cell body. Dendrites is there, no? So this is cell body, right? So this is dendrites. So if any messages is there from the outside, from the other cells, it will send through like this. Okay. So this is about neuron. So now move to the next question. A couple has a female child with disease and two unaffected children. Okay, so what the couple have as a female child with disease. Okay, sorry. So neither parent nor any of the four biological grandparents of the affected child has had this disease. Means the parents and also their four biological grandparents does not has this disease. Okay. Which one of the following is most likely genetic explanation? If they skip the generation, means what? It is somehow coming recessive. Okay, because dominant is there, no, it doesn't skip the generation. If parents is affected directly, it will affect it to the children. If it is not affected also, it will carry, okay, carry the disease causing gene. But here what happened, even though the grandparents is not happening, means this is recessive gene itself, because in the recessive condition what happened, it will skip the generation. So let us see how. See, autosomal recessive inheritance. Okay, answer for this question is an autosomal recessive inheritance. So how it is happen? Let us see. See, these both are parents have the carriers. Okay, means they have carrier. Means not affected. They have the gene which is having disease causing gene. That is carrier gene. Okay. See, this is the carrier father. This is the carrier mother. So when they got children, 25% will normal, 50% will carrier, and 25% will affected. Okay, so when both the sorry, when both the parents are carrier, 25% babies are normal, 50% are having carrier of the disease causing gene, and 25% will be affected. Okay, so according to this, which is the answer? Autosomal recessive inheritance. Okay, so if it is recessive, means it will skip the generation to generation. Dominant means it never skip the generation. If father is affected, baby is directly affected. Okay, let us see some other inheritance patterns. This is X-linked recessive. Okay, so here what happened? Mother is a carrier and father is a unaffected. Okay, if mother is carrier and father is unaffected, so what happened? Unaffected son, unaffected daughter, and one daughter will be carrier. Okay, because mother give X chromosome, right? Sorry, mother give X chromosome. So that's why this daughter will carry the one X chromosome from mother, one X chromosome from father. So she is not affected. She get carry the gene. Okay, disease causing gene. No, she has the carrier. So son is also affected because father will give only Y chromosome. Okay, so if any baby born means it is responsible for father itself, because the Y gene is not present in the female, it is present in the male body. So that's why if son is affected, means because directly X chromosome will transfer from mother to son, because X is received from the mother, right? Y is received from father and X is received from mother. So that's why son is affected here. Okay, so this is called as X-linked recessive in the case of carrier mother. So now come to the X-linked dominant in the case of affected father. So here what happened? father is affected and mother is unaffected. Okay, so father is affected means what? So for the baby girl, one X chromosome will be received from the father, one X chromosome will be received from the mother, right? So here what happened, this is unaffected son. Okay, even though father is affected, he is unaffected. How it is? Because it is X linked, right? So mother is healthy, she is unaffected. So if X is no mother, from the mother he got healthy gene. Okay, that's why he is unaffected. But this daughter is there, no? So directly even though if he is carrier, she also becoming carrier. Only one child will be affected. But here what happened? Father is affected, right? So that's why directly X chromosome will be transferred from father to daughter. So that's why two daughters also affected. Okay, so see, two son are unaffected because they have carried healthy X gene from the mother. But for the daughter, one X gene is carried directly from the father, right? So that's why these two daughters will get affected. So this is the X-linked dominant even in the case of affected father. Okay, so now other inheritance, that is autosomal dominant. Okay, so a dominant means if father is affected means son and father, daughter are also affected. So how it is happened? Let us see. So see, affected father and also unaffected mother. Okay, a father affected means father is having both X gene and also Y chromosome, right? So X is given to daughter, Y is given to son, right? So here Y is taken from the father and she got X taken from the father. So that's why this son also affected, this daughter also affected, and remaining two are unaffected. Okay, because this mother will give dominant characters. Okay, when compared to the father, if mother is dominant, there is a 50% chances. Okay, so see here what happened. If four babies means 50% is once again. Okay, so here what happened, 50% chances. So how it is 50%? Because see, 50% babies will affected. So one son and one daughter will be affected, and also here 50% will be unaffected because of unaffected daughter, unaffected son. So it will indicates two will got dominant characters, dominant gene, and these two will got this affected gene. Okay, this affected also dominant. That's why 50-50 percentage. So this is about autosomal dominant. Okay, so this is about this video. Hope you people enjoy this video. We learned many things. Okay, so if you like this video, hit the like button and share with your friends. And if any questions, if any queries, let me know in the comment box. Comment box is yours. Ask any kind of questions, I will give the answer. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Okay, so thank you so much for watching.